There's one thing that I've never done before on this channel, and that is a camera review. Until now, because I might have found a camera that's actually worth talking about. Ever since I bought my first DSLR in 2008, I've been a Nikon camera user. And for the last 6 years, I've been relying on my trusty Z6 to do the job for me. In this modern digital age, holding on to a camera for 6 years, for many, is seen to be quite a long time. Technology changes and updates all the time. So that's what got me to thinking, maybe I should look to upgrade my trusty Z6. The natural progression would be to the Z6 III, which at time of filming has recently been released. Or I could take an even bigger step up to the Z8. But in the end, I decided to not go with either of these cameras. In fact, I decided to go with something different. Very different. I chose to go with this, the Hasselblad X1D 50C. This is Hasselblad's flagship medium format mirrorless camera. It was released back in 2016, 2 years before the Z6, making this camera now 9 years old. So surely you're thinking, Tom, it's a downgrade rather than upgrade, isn't it? But no, I don't think it is. This camera has a 50 megapixel medium format sensor. The Z6 is 24 megapixels full frame. When this camera retailed back in 2016, it retailed for £14,500. That's over £10,000 more than the Z6. But I suppose the ultimate question is, does it still cut the mustard today, when over those 9 years it's been usurped by the X1D Mark II and the X2D, which now has a 100 megapixel sensor, as opposed to the poxy 50 in this. For the few of you that are still watching this video at this point, you're probably thinking, Tom, you're an absolute madman. Why turn down the Z8 or the Z6 III in favour of a 9-year-old camera? Those cameras have got far more advanced technology these days. They're going to be faster, they're going to produce better photographs even though they've got smaller sensors. And yeah, you might be right. But I'm going to now explain exactly why I've gone for this camera and why I probably wouldn't change it for any of the new cameras out on the market at the moment. First things first, it's not all about aesthetics, but the look of this camera is absolutely beautiful. To think that it's 9 years old is quite baffling really, because it looks like it could have been designed yesterday. It would still stand out above all the other black boxes that are on the market at the moment. The menus are absolutely brilliantly put together. They're very simple. It's like navigating through a smartphone screen where you've got a series of apps and then you can go into sub-menus within those apps. It just makes navigating the menu system so much easier than keeping pressing buttons and forgetting which menu what settings in. It's just such a more sleek experience. I think we also need to talk about optics. We haven't spoken about the lens on this camera yet. This is the XCD 45mm f3.5, which in full frame terms is the equivalent of a 35mm at probably around 2.8. The optics that you get out of this thing is absolutely insane. I know Nikon are well known for their brilliant glass, but I think this usurps it even further. I'm not going to do a deep technical dive, but you get absolutely fantastic sharpness across all the aperture range, and I've never really come across a camera and a lens combination that produces such amazing results. The other thing that I must mention about this camera is the colour profiles. I've heard people gush about Hasselblad colours before, and I thought, yeah, but how good can that actually be? Until I used it and I thought, that's how good it can be. It seems just so natural. One of the things that I think is a drawback of the Nikon cameras is you're always having to shoot in one of the JPEG picture profiles, even when you're photographing in RAW. Whereas with this, what you see is what you get with the colours, and they're absolutely bang on. The XCD lens system also operates a leaf shutter, meaning that the shutter is actually in the lens rather than in the camera, and the noise that the shutter makes is absolutely sumptuous. This camera is also a conversation starter. I've been stopped on the street far more times over the last 3 months than I ever was with the Z6 and probably ever would be with the Z6 III or Z8. Because it's not run-of-the-mill, because it looks so amazing, people just are interested in it. So it gets that conversation started about cameras, about photography, and what cameras mean to us as individuals. I think it's also worth mentioning about size. It's really quite compact for a medium format camera. Compared to the Z6, it's not that much bigger at all, and it's got a slightly larger grip, which feels really nice in your hand. So it doesn't really feel like you're lugging around any more weight than I would have been with the Z6. So the clinching thing for anybody when they're buying cameras is often the price. And remember I said that when this camera was released 9 years ago, it retailed for £14,500. So how much did I pick it up for in 2025? Well, I paid just shy of £2,500 for this camera. And yes, for a 9-year-old camera, that is a lot. But taking into account everything that I've said about it so far and comparing it with new models that are being released, then it's not that much different. And in fact, it's cheaper than both the Z6 III and the Z8. So I hear you ask, why isn't everybody choosing the Hasselblad X1D as their next camera? Surely, after everything that I've said, it's the most sensible choice. Well, there are one or two things that slightly let it down. First of all, when you switch it on, it takes approximately 6 weeks to boot up before you can actually start taking photographs. In terms of lens choice, there's not a huge amount out there, and the majority of the lenses that you can get for this camera tend to be prime fixed focal length lenses, and if you want to buy one of those, then make sure that you take out a second mortgage. When you focus this camera, you've got to make sure that you're absolutely bang on, because sometimes it can miss, and when it does focus, it sounds like something out of War of the Worlds. I think it's also worth mentioning the shutter in this camera, well, in the lens, because it's that leaf shutter. It's really quite slow. When you take a photograph, you hear it click once, and then you think, it must have taken it, and you move, and then it clicks again. You think, surely I wasn't on like a 3-second exposure, surely it was just a 1,000th of a second. But it does take a while to register, so you've got to make sure that you're steady, because there's no image stabilization either in the lens or the camera, and ideally, for shots any slower than a 60th of a second, you're probably going to need to use a tripod. On 1 or 2 occasions, I've had a notification on the screen at the back saying that the lens isn't attached, when it quite obviously is. And sometimes you switch it on, and it decides to just show a black screen instead of what you're meant to be photographing. It's all the stuff like that that make you realise that, yeah, you are using a camera that is 9 years old, and back in 2016 all of that probably would have been acceptable, but in 2025 it's probably not what everybody's looking for. So after using this camera for 3 months, am I going to trade it in and go for the Z6 III or the Z8 instead? Absolutely not. Despite all of its quirks, I feel like this camera was designed for me. After all, I've got plenty of quirks of my own. I don't want a boring black box that, yes, might be all singing, all dancing, but just looks boring and doesn't really turn any heads. This, on the other hand, definitely turns heads and is a little bit left field, not run-of-the-mill. Again, a little bit like me. I'm not bothered about fast burst rates or a telephoto lens to capture birds flying overhead, because that's not what I photograph. I'm also not bothered about not having a flippy out screen at the back, which incidentally the X1D doesn't have either. I'm also not bothered about not having access to a vast array of lenses, because the 35mm 45 on medium format works perfectly for me. I can get in close and get a shallow depth of field at f3.5 and potentially crop in to the massive 50 megapixel medium format sensor if I feel like I need a little bit more crop. When I was looking for a new camera, my ultimate goal was to find something with brilliant optics, a great colour profile, something that was light enough to carry around, ergonomic in the hand, that looks good, that isn't a boring old black box, and this pretty much ticks all of those boxes. I have to admit, I'm probably not the best camera reviewer, and it's probably become evident that this video is definitely not sponsored by Hasselblad, but if they are watching and you fancy sending me an X2D, then I probably wouldn't mind trying it out. I would say that for 98, maybe 99% of you watching this video, then the X1D is definitely not for you. But I think if you are considering buying a new camera within the next 12 months, considering some of the things that I've been talking about in this video wouldn't go amiss. I think when we're looking for a new camera, we can often place too much emphasis on the technical specs. Yes, of course they're important, but I think the other thing that we have to think about that we often neglect is the feel of the camera, how well it suits us as individual photographers. I don't want to get all soppy and soft on you, but the enjoyment that we get out of a camera won't come from how many megapixels it has, or how fast the burst rate is, or whether the processor cuts the mustard in this modern digital age. It's about how well we get on with the camera, how it feels in our hands, what it looks like, and how it performs when we're out in the field. Over the last 6 years, my Z6 has done a fantastic job in making me happy when I take photographs, but I've never really been a black box sort of photographer, which is why when this came out in 2016, I thought, that's my dream camera. I've always wanted to own something like this. And it just so happens in 2025, albeit 9 years later, I've been able to afford something that actually really makes me want to go out and take photographs and really enjoy it when I do. If you take nothing else away from this video other than thinking that I'm an absolute idiot for buying a clunky 9-year-old camera for a relatively exorbitant amount of money, let it be this. A camera is a tool, and it's a tool that helps us to achieve a specific goal. And yes, we might buy a camera that's all singing and all dancing and has all of the stuff that modern photography demands of us, but if it doesn't feel right, then it's not the camera for us. There is one out there, we've just got to do a little bit more searching and maybe think a little bit more outside the box to find it.